So I got the 4 teams that should be in the college football playoff. But before I get into that, can we all just agree that whoever decided in the NCAA to only have 4 teams get in should be fired? I mean, if you wanted to keep it at a minimal number of teams, it should have been 5 at the very least. You have 5 power conferences. There should be at least 5 spots. And the number 4 and the number 5 seed should be playing against each other to see who goes against the number 1 seed. That's how it should have been. Now, I like that they're going to make it even more teams in the future, but if we were talking about what it should have first been, it should have been 5, not 4. We would be avoiding a lot of this conversation. We would have a way to have an automatic bid, which is if you go undefeated and you win your conference, that's an automatic bid. You're into the playoff for a Power 5 conference. Now, we're not talking about these other scrub conferences. We're talking about Power 5. Anyway, that's besides the point. Let's get into the teams that should be in the college football playoff. Number 1, obviously Michigan. Number 2, Washington. Those are the 2 that are guaranteed, no question about it. Now, the football games that are played on the field between the lines, they have to mean something. You've got a Power 5 conference that went undefeated. They deserve to be in. Period. No questions asked. Do I think they are currently a top 4 team in the country? No, I don't. But that's my opinion doesn't matter. Your opinion doesn't matter when you're talking about an undefeated team getting in versus a one-loss team. It's clear cut. They deserve to get in. You're not going to hold a team, you're not going to penalize a team for losing their quarterback. This is a team game. You got a whole bunch of other dudes, a bunch of other kids playing some football and playing some good football. Did you see how that defense looks at FSU? They deserve to get in. It is not fair to keep those other kids out of the college football playoff when they went undefeated because they lost their quarterback. It's just not fair. They deserve to get in. Now, if the committee wants to put them at 4 instead of number 3, that's fine. But they deserve a college football playoff spot. Now that leaves 1 spot for 3 teams. And the only reason I'm saying 3 teams is because people keep saying Georgia should get in. Look, they don't deserve to get in. They didn't win their conference. Out of Georgia, Texas, and Alabama, they have the worst strength of schedule for the opponent's record. So they've got the worst win. I mean, their best win is against a 2-win team. Again, they didn't win their conference. And they just lost to Alabama, one of the teams that are trying to get the last spot. So Georgia, sorry, you're done. You're done. So as far as wins go for Alabama and Texas, against top 25 teams, I think both teams went 3-1 if I'm not mistaken. So I believe they're even there. Now, we talk about best win. Best win goes to Texas. They beat Alabama head-to-head. Alabama is the SEC Conference champion. Alabama's best win against the runner-up in the SEC. I would think beating the SEC champion is a better win over beating the runner-up of the SEC. So, best win goes to Texas, and it was a head-to-head. Now let's talk about best loss. This one's going to be controversial for you guys, but best loss to me also goes to Texas. Alabama lost to Texas, the other team trying to get the last playoff spot. So to me, that should be held against you pretty strongly. Not only that, but that loss was at home in Alabama. They came into your field and dominated you that whole game. They beat you by 10. Alabama, I don't think ever led the game. Texas led the game for like 40-plus minutes. And the game was only tied for like somewhere around 10 minutes for the whole game. Like, Texas literally led almost wire to wire on that game. Like, it wasn't like it was a close game, really. I mean, the score was closer than the game actually was. And then you talk about the loss for Texas. It was against a bitter rival in Oklahoma on a neutral field and only by 4. And people also forget that Texas quarterback got injured that game. He got injured at the end of the game, and then they ended up losing by 4. And again, it was on a neutral field to a 2-loss Oklahoma team. And the Alabama fans who are going to be all in the comments here, who want to say that I'm wrong about this and that they shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma, who's a bitter rival, well, why, when Alabama barely beat Auburn a couple weeks ago, were y'all saying, well, they're a bitter rival. That's why it was a close game. That's why we had to win on our final possession. That's what y'all were saying, because they were a bitter rival, even though they're a 6-loss team. That's what y'all were saying. But now you want to discount the fact of bitter rivalries when it comes to Texas versus Oklahoma, which is actually even a bigger rivalry than the Iron Bowl. I mean, Texas OU goes back long time ago. That's why it's played on a neutral field. It's the Red River rivalry. It's played in the middle of Austin and Oklahoma. So, I mean, it's a rivalry. It happens. It's just kind of like in the NFL where your division rivals always play you tougher. That's what rivals do. Texas lost that game by 4 on a neutral field. Alabama lost at home by double digits. To me, the better losses go to Texas, especially when it's, like I said, head-to-head to get the last playoff spot. It has to mean something. You play the game for a reason. Texas beat Alabama. They should get the final spot. So my 4 teams are Michigan, Washington. I'll move Texas to 3 because I said I was cool dropping FSU to 4. If the committee wants to keep them at 3, that's cool with me too. Either way, FSU should be in, and Texas gets the last spot. Let me know what you guys think. And hey, I'm going to the Houston Texans game today because I'm a season ticket member. Go Texans, let's beat those Broncos.